we recognize that there's a problem. What are the solutions to the problem? And where's the opportunity for law firm owners to look at this and say, wait a second, I can be a help to my clients and I can actually provide a solution to them. And here's how.
Right. So first of all, as an attorney, you need to be familiar with your rules of professional conduct. Every state has RPCs that talk about the protection of client data and client money with respect to the use of computers. And so does the American Bar Association. You can get some guidance from there as well. You know, they have some formal opinions that you should be looking at about the use of email and reasonable cybersecurity for your practice of law. Now, nobody expects an attorney to be a technical expert, right? I've read many RPCs and formal opinions of the ABA. Nobody is saying attorneys have to be experts. But what they do say is that you've got to be thoughtful and you need to partner, if necessary, with somebody who does know how this all works, right? If you're not a nerd, get a nerd and then sort it out and put the client in the center of what you do. And so, for example, we all know that phishing is a big deal. So you should be doing things to guard against phishing attacks, business email compromises, things like that. Multi-factor authentication, the use of a password manager.
Pause for 1 second. Okay. We're not talking about the phishing you do when you're retired or on vacation. All right. This is phishing with a PH. And when we're talking about phishing, it's when somebody sends you something that you are likely to respond to. And by clicking a link or taking an action, you're opening the gateway for the bad actor to enter. And typically the way that's done is, like right now, there's a huge push of phishing happening with anybody who's running Facebook ads. So they'll try to figure out what is the email account that you're running Facebook ads from. And by the way, we're like our info business, like our customer support email, that's our forward facing email, is not the email used to log into our Facebook account. So that's how we can see that all these are phishing expeditions coming in, because they're all going to that email address instead of the one that we're using for our Facebook Business Manager. But these emails will come in saying that they're from Meta or they're from Facebook, and they'll say that your ad was rejected or that a post you did violated policy and you need to click this link and review the post or the terms and conditions or whatever and take action to rectify it. But when you click the link, it's not taking you to Facebook. It's taking you to a site that looks like Facebook, and it's asking you to input information that Facebook would never ask you to input. And when you look at the email, you can see that it's not coming from facebook.com. It's coming from some other URL. And I've found that a lot of them are coming from Salesforce. So it's somebody who's a client on Salesforce and has a mass email, or they're sending a mass email through Salesforce. So you can't see who it's coming from, but it looks legitimate because it's coming from Salesforce. Oh, maybe Facebook's using Salesforce internally. And, so they're getting smarter and smarter with how they mask it. But you can always tell by looking at the actual link you're clicking on, because often it's just words that have a hyperlink beneath them that you can't see. But if you actually look at what that hyperlink is, you'll see that it's not the URL. Now, they're really smart. So they'll mask it. They'll put facebook.com somewhere in the URL, but it's not the actual domain you're going to. So I know I went down a path here, but people don't understand how phishing happens or what it means. And it's really important, because that's one of the easiest ways that they get in, is by just sending you something that you're likely to click on based on your situation.
Yeah, that's right. And I really like the way you described it. I think that was a very good way of breaking it down and helping people understand who are not technical experts. But one thing I also tell people is, like, anytime you open up a message, whether it's an email or a text, if you get a sudden rush of emotion, whether it's like, oh my God, something bad's about to happen, or, oh, I just won the deal, right? Whatever it is, if you get this huge rush of emotion, stop, because it's a pretty good sign that somebody's trying to con you, because that's what phishing's all about. It's about hijacking our emotional brain, right? Our lizard brain, the amygdala, the ancient part of our brain that, shoots first and asks questions later, right? And so that's a great way. So if you're not technical and you're like, I don't know how to, all that jibber jabber and blah, blah, blah. Well, then just pay attention to strong urges of emotion from a message. And that's a pretty good sign that you're someone's trying to fake you out, right? So Yeah. So whether it's phishing or a virus or something, a remote access Trojan is a really awful piece of malicious code that can get on your machine, which will allow somebody to monitor every keystroke that you take, every mouse click that you make, and they can even do screen grabs of whatever it is you're looking on your monitor. So whatever it is, right? Know what your obligations are as an attorney under your rules of professional conduct, but then do some things to sort of clean up your personal act, like the multi-factor authentication, use a password manager, and I've got tons of information that I can share, about that stuff. I don't want to unpack it here because I don't think that's really the point of our conversation, is to unpack all these little bitty details, but really just to make the point that as an attorney, you do have to protect your client, and you have to protect their data and their money. And at the end of the day, it's your reputation, right? That's all we have is our reputation. And there's been some law firms that have lost control of their clients' data, and they went out of business, mostly because clients lost confidence in them, not because the hackers made off with all their money. So yeah, so I hope that really, puts a bow on what's at risk here.